feel like when we talk about lightweight laptops, the LG Gram is always in the mix of that discussion. The Gram has actually been out since 2014, so 12 years of lightweight laptops, and actually the 17-inch is currently the world's lightest 17-inch laptop with an RTX card, the 5050, which we'll get to. And LG has sponsored this video. They've challenged me to see if the Gram still holds up to that test, and we've got the two models, like I mentioned, both the 17 as well as the 16-inch. So as we get into it, you can obviously tell two devices still super lightweight, still super thin. They've actually come out with a new material on them. So if we actually flip that open, we can kind of see from the actual build. So it's called aluminum, which is essentially an aluminum magnesium alloy. And as an example, on the 16-inch, that's 3% lighter than the previous gen of the LG Gram. 40 grams in total weight reduction when you think about it, because this is already super lightweight. Technically every extra gram counts. Like in total, the 16-inch weighs only 1.2 kilograms and is 12.4 millimeters thin. So when you keep this in your bag, when you're traveling around with it, that should help a ton. And it just gives it a more like metallic premium feel. I know for magnesium alloy builds before on other laptops, sometimes feels like a bit cheap, a bit finicky. Like for example, the screen bend, it still feels nice and sturdy. Obviously it isn't full aluminum, it doesn't have that extra rigidity, but that is the trade-off to help keep these laptops super lightweight, which is nice. And you can see that I have them in two different finishes here of bronze and silver. It's almost like a machined brushed look, very industrial, very different from what I've seen, and just gives it a bit of a unique look. And of course, you've just got the Gram logos on the side. And if we go around to the port selection, very similar for both the 16 and 17, you've got HDMI 2.1, two USB-C ports, and on the other side, two USB-As and a headphone jack, and that signature look for the Gram where it kind of tapers and becomes a lot thinner. Once again, more so for that lightweightness and that portability. And the larger one, I mentioned this is the world's lightest 17-inch laptop with an RTX 5050. So this is only 1.7 kilos, so around 3.84 pounds, and 16.7 millimeters, which is absolutely crazy for a laptop of this size. And LG has actually placed these laptops on something called the Laptop Portability Index, essentially a very complicated mathematical equation on where these rank. And that takes into account weight, thickness, surface size, as well as the battery. And the 16-inch actually comes out on the very top. So I'll leave the full list. If you're into those calculations, you can check them out, but you can really geek out and see how well these perform. Like literally the perfect laptop for portability, and all the other brands' laptops are there as a bit of a reference. What that essentially translates into real life when you bring around these laptops. So if you're using it, for work, between meeting places, you don't need to worry about something too big. When you stick this, into your backpack, I travel like a ton for work, just having a lighter device, like trust me, every single pound matters, because in your bag, you not only have your laptop, you have, your camera gear, you have all your other tech accessories. Just having a lighter device in general makes a difference like over time. So I appreciate thin and lightweight laptops, like for sure. So both of these, they're pro models. You can spec them for whatever you kind of use it for. As an example, the 16-inch, this one has the Intel Core Ultra X7. This has just integrated Intel Arc graphics, specifically the B390. Both of these have 32 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. For this one, I would recommend this, if you're a student, if you're a business professional. The most you're gonna be doing with this is your daily like productivity tasks, being productive, obviously, browsing the net, watching like Netflix, all of the content that you want. You can still edit, regular like social media clips with this if you want, still editing photos on it. But if you want something a bit more powerful, a bit heftier, if you want a game as an example, so this has the Intel Core Ultra 9. It's got an RTX 5050 spec to it. So this one, as an example, I was running both Forza and Warhammer on this, getting really good frame rates across both games. This being slightly larger, you could actually get by with this being your main device, and you technically don't need a desktop, you don't need a second monitor, and you still have that option of this being super portable. So if you want that larger screen, media consumption for gaming, editing, photos on that extra screen real estate, this one is obviously really nice, but once again, you have to decide which form factor you like and what you would use it for. So for the displays, once again, you've got a couple different options. For the 16, this is where you can kind of pick and choose. So you can get an OLED on this, which this one is. It isn't touchscreen, but has a better resolution. Obviously with OLED, you've got deeper contrast ratios, it's brighter, it looks better. On the 17-inch, you can only get an IPS panel. This one is a touch display and it's glossy versus the matte, and you can kind of tell that with some of the reflections. Once again, you can can keep all that in mind when you are speccing them. And maybe lastly, what will kind of help you push you in either direction. So speakers on both sound good, but I will say the 17-inch has a larger trackpad. You can see it takes up most of the bottom edge here, whereas on the 16-inch, it is slightly smaller. In no means small, but that might help you. And of course the battery life. So probably to do with the OLED display. So you're getting around 26.5 hours of video playback on the 16-inch. Just keep in mind that depends on what you're doing, your configuration of the device, and how heavy you're using it. And 32.5 over on the 17-inch. The 16-inch has a 77 watt-hour battery, whereas the 17-inch has a 90 watt-hour battery. And once again, that is very impressive for such a big laptop. So next, obviously, we have to talk about AI. Every computer these days has them. So both are rocking like 50 tops of AI performance. And that's all thanks to the next gen processor. Honestly, for AI use, one of my favorite ones. Not that I'm like a big AI user. I feel like I haven't really scratched the surface myself personally, but I know a ton of people that use it as part of their workflow. So if that's important to you, once again, one of the better performing ones. If you need it, it's there for you. And I'd say the biggest AI thing that I use the most is LG Gram Chat. That is on device as an example. You can get it technically like on cloud. And through there, they have a feature called time travel. So if you've ever worked on a document, if you've ever looked something up, say for example, like on the internet, you want to look back in time, you can kind of just scroll back and find it pretty easily. Pretty useful, to be honest, as my mind kind of just goes all over the place these days. But the thing that I actually really liked is GramLink 2.0, where you can connect up to 10 devices, whether it's iOS, Android. You can get all your notifications running pretty much across all your devices, which I sometimes find is the hardest thing if you're switching between like Windows and an iOS device. It's nice because they're pretty much synced up and you don't feel like you're kind of stuck in one ecosystem or the other. Just kind of works across the board. But yeah, that is the LG Gram. Still remains one of the lightest thin portable laptops. Like I'm holding both of these and I feel like this is still lighter than a thick, chunky like gaming laptop. The fact that this still has like an RTX 5050 in it, the fact that you can still game on it and yeah, be super portable. Let me know which device you prefer. I'd probably lean towards the one with an actual graphics card in it. I kind of like this bronzy industrial colorway myself. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks to LG for sponsoring it, and happy laptop season. Peace.